Last month, we talked about Elysium, a third location in Dying Light 2 Stay Human that never made its way into release. You can see many clues, hints, and even dialogue hinting at the existence of this location in the final version of the game.
The passage to the Elysium neighborhood remains blocked.
We call this the lost and cut content of Dying Light 2. A little bit before that, it was data mined that there may actually be an arena mode added into the game as well. This arena, it was debated. Was this another case of cut content? Was it something that they had an idea of adding into the game and then it was scrapped last minute? Or was this something that was put into the game files to start prepping it for future DLCs? No one really knew. Until today, that is. So to quickly recap this video that covered a previous leak, let me tell you what happened in exactly 30 seconds. Here we go. So you do a mission for Kurt, who wants to help you find his son. He tells you that someone named Astrid took him away and is now hiding in an area called the Opera House. This was a location that was mentioned in Elysium's cut content. From there, back and forth dialogue happens as Aiden uncovers the mystery and real story of what Kurt was actually saying. The only way to properly face Astrid is by undergoing a series of challenges, waves of enemies that get harder and harder each round in a centralized arena. That is about the extent of what you need to know, and look at that, 30 seconds exactly. So very recently, someone in the community, Jim Jam 108, was able to data mine patch 4 and uncovered a lot of new details strongly suggesting the existence of an arena horde mode coming into DLC 1. This further proves what we got a couple months ago. DLC 1 is slated to release sometime in September. The release date itself is unknown at this time. The only confirmed information that we have surrounding this DLC is two major things. The first one being that this takes place alongside the main story, so you can do this anytime after the prologue and anytime before the epilogue. It's been mentioned time and time again that it does occur sideways to the main story. There's no exact timing of when you have to do it and when you don't have to do it. Number two, it takes place in a completely new location. It was confirmed in my interview with Timon that players will go to a new area during a DLC playthrough.
You will play some stuff on the main map, but then you will move to a different location which is not visible in the city right now, which is not part of the main map that you know already. And I think that's everything I can say at this point.
Now, obviously, I'm sure we will have to progress to that area, so do keep that in mind. But this new leak shows a huge amount of interactions and potential story beats that we may come across. The data mine also shows some of the choices and consequences that may occur. A lot of it does go in line with that previous video that I was talking about earlier. It does show that there are 4 different clues that related to an investigation that you do as Aiden. It also shows that when you're inside of the arena, you will be faced with 3 different challenges. If we look back at that previous video, there was additional dialogue that offered up something similar. A character was asking Aiden who he wanted to face first. Does he dare to take on fighting the infected, fighting warriors, or fighting Astrid? The new leak also suggested that there are a couple of boss fights. It doesn't go that much in depth, but it does read that there are at least 6 different instances of boss fights going on here, 7 if you do include Astrid. Now it's time to dissect this even further because there's actually a lot more here. Another data miner named Bub, he was actually able to dig deeper into the files and start rebuilding the arena using all of the assets that he's found so far. It should be noted that all these assets here have the prefix DLC or DLC_opera, and with all of those assets, Bub was able to properly rebuild some of the opera arena. So if you're this far into the video and you still don't want to get spoiled, just click off. This is your time to do it. Obviously, with everything that we are seeing, you do need to ignore the color scheme. But here it is. This is what is believed to be the arena for the first DLC. So this right here is actually Aiden's character. He is being used for scale so you can see how massive this place actually is. Here is another angle of Aiden standing in the middle of this huge dome. We have huge areas to the side that look perfect for a crowd to watch, and then we also have a giant chandelier light fixture hanging from above. And if you look behind this curtain, there's actually actually another same size area behind it as well. In the data mine, there are also additional references to this opera area having an entrance hall, prison, and also a vestibule. It seems like this arena is heavily tied to story, but there are some instances that relate to different game modes and challenges. For example, there is a water arena challenge and also a King of the Hill game mode against NPCs. Now, once again, all of these names, it could say one thing and mean something completely different. I mean, this is the King of the Hill that I know and love, so if a King of the Hill game mode does exist, it may be something different, but whatever it is, it may add tons of meaningful amounts of endgame content. Different and new game modes, especially ones that can be done in co-op, will add tons of replayability. And like Timon said in my interview, Dying Light is a game that is built for co-op. Adding more co-op options and modes will work perfectly, especially if a cross-play or cross-gen feature is added later down the road. But at the moment, there's no word of that happening. But what do you think about this arena? Do you like the idea of a Horde or arena wave-based mode coming into Dying Light 2? Do you want to see this? Let me know. In this leak, there are also 2 more major pieces of content that I truly do wish are true. These, however, are a little bit more questionable. I'm more inclined to believe what we just discussed is true, and that's coming to DLC 1, rather than the stuff that we're about to go over right now. So the leak discussed the existence of a loot island, and from the looks of it, it seems like this loot island would have replayable encounters ranging from easy to hard, and it will also have encounters involving military trucks, police cars, and vans. Could this be something similar to Bozak Horde? Could this be similar to Haran Prison? Or something entirely new? Or could this be something that it's just leftover assets and it's another case of files not being cleaned up and not hidden as well? And are we just going and getting our hopes up for absolutely nothing? I don't know, but I think what's really good about this is that it really does warrant a discussion as to whether or not we even want this. Does the community want something like this? Is this something that we want to see in the future of Dying Light 2? I mean, I have my thoughts, but I'm curious to hear what you have to say. But lastly, there was also a section in the leak that discussed driving challenges, and it had 4 different options. Same thing as before. Is this new? Is it leftovers? Bub, another fellow data miner for Dying Light 2, did comment that these challenges are most likely Dying Light 1 leftovers, and that string of code was referring to the following, the first DLC of the original. Like I said, I truly do believe that the arena and horde mode from the beginning half of this video is legit. I do think at one point in the future that we will come across and face Astrid and have tons of options to do waves and waves of enemies. If something like this is added into Dying Light 2, it will be major. It will overall benefit the game's endgame content pool immensely. This month so far, Harper was a great addition, a great solid start, the start of something great, as I like to say it. As for Loot Island and those driving challenges, they're questionable. I'm leaning more towards those being leftovers or prototypes, as Bub did say. How about Teklin goes and adds in those dual-wielding shields? Well, we data mine that too, Teklin. We know you're up to something. We know you got something brewing, but that's a talk for another time. What we should be discussing before this video ends is this random ear rape bug that occurs when you're fighting Waltz in the final section of the game.
Aiden?
Walt?
And before this video does end, huge shout out to Wasted Cultures for sending me a personalized gift of gear, clothing, and much more. It came on awesome. Everything you're seeing on screen right now is completely handmade. They actually made that Night Runner journal that myself and Jonas Scott unboxed on stream and then later gave away. If you head to their website and use code Mario15, you can get 50% off. If you are really big into cosplay, they have a lot for you to check out, and I highly recommend them. So check them out. And don't forget to use code Mario15. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.